Muchas gracias y adelante, Jill.
Hi, hello. My name is Jill Adams, and like he said, I work at the Beaverton Library, and I just want you to know how I'm very available for you. My phone number at the Beaverton Library is 503-350-3613, and my email is jadams@beavertonoregon.gov. Excuse me. I have a lot of experience doing helping small business people do the research that will help them succeed. I work Sundays through Thursdays, and believe me, since I'm not a mom, I only learned about how difficult it is to get childcare from researching it. And so if you know more than I do at the end and you have an important correction to make, feel free to raise your hand or put them in the comments to share. What we're going to talk today about will be library updates, an overview of childcare business, about the various kinds of daycare or childcare businesses that there are, and how to see if it's feasible for you to go into this endeavor. Then we'll go into depth about the resources who will support you. When I am talking about childcare providers, I'm talking about potentially you who might be wanting to run childcare from your home or start a center outside your home. The purpose of this presentation is not to explain how to get childcare for your child or to get funding or money to help you get childcare for your child. The purpose of this presentation is to be thinking about childcare as a business, being a provider. Or maybe also you make administrative software, or you cater to children's needs at childcare providers, or you cater to facilities where children are, even remodeling, or you cater to government's needs about childcare administration. See, it's an ecosystem, so there may be more demand for your skills, and you can be thinking during this presentation about how to find your niche. The CCRNR is going to be a term I use a lot, and that stands for Child Care Resource and Referral for Washington County. We'll talk about the resources that are available to you, and now we'll start here with the library updates. The library is back. We are open every day, Monday through Friday until 7 and until 6 on Thursdays through Sundays. We offer free printing. And just a reminder, our Safe Child policy requires an adult must accompany all children under age 10 on library visits. If you drop off kids, if they're with someone who's at least 10, that they can be dropped off that way. And also, the library workers do not supervise children. So that's just our policy. So they have to have like a babysitter while they're here. Many childcare operations closed a lot during the pandemic, resulting in a higher demand and higher prices and more difficult situations for parents. In Washington County, Oregon, we have a very good resource in the CCRNR with the county government. The most important website will be the CCRNR, and we'll show you that. It's Washington County Community Action CCRNR. This is a business. Childcare focuses on kids under the age of 5. Providers of what's known as preschool programs have to be certified in their childcare service to prepare 3- and 4-year-old children for kindergarten. Most parents, the customers, want full-time childcare, not just a few days of the week. If you're interested in doing childcare part-time, maybe think about banding together with other childcare providers or work somewhere at a childcare center for a few days of the week. According to state reports, all 36 counties in Oregon were childcare deserts for the 0 to 2 age group, while 25 counties were deserts for the kids of age 3 to 5. Oregon is the 4th least affordable state in the county for childcare and preschool. Many families struggle to pay the high cost. According to Oregon Child Care Research Partnership at OSU, there is a crisis when it comes to infants and toddlers, finding slots for them. There's good news though. At a federal level, the American Rescue Plan will be allocating billions to childcare. $15 billion will expand childcare assistance through development block grants to support childcare for essential workers, providers, and families. $24 billion will create a stabilization fund for providers, and $1 billion will go into Head Start programs like Oregon's Preschool Promise and Baby Promise programs. According to Family Forward Oregon, which fights for justice for mothers and caregivers, upcoming investments will make Oregon's various systems easier to navigate for parents and providers, and hopefully help child care centers reopen with more availability. In the next 10 years, Biden proposes to spend $225 billion on child care programs. So what does that mean? To me, it sounds like there's going to be more money flowing into this endeavor. Multnomah County recently voted in universal pre-K. That means they will tax themselves to provide universal pre-kindergarten for 3 and 4-year-olds. Now, this is a growing trend. It's a growing trend that's growing slowly, but it could happen in more counties in the United States when these kinds of allocations become law. This trend will shift little children into public school and community-based preschools. And so the supply of 3 and 4-year-olds kids whose parents might have sent them to a daycare or a childcare, that supply could get smaller if the parents find that it's easier to enroll them in the county preschools. So the supply of 3 and 4-year-old kids whose parents might have sent them to a small home, if they enroll them into the school-based or big box center, then if you are going to be providing childcare in your home, you might want to focus on the younger kids or describe how your small setting stands apart. It's maybe more more comfortable for the children, or you can attend to their needs more directly. You can set yourself apart from the big schools and the big centers. In Multnomah County in September of 2022, what do you think will happen to the supply of 4-year-olds whose parents who pay for childcare services, even if they're, offered preschool at a large school? It will be interesting to follow the trend. In other words, as small home-based childcare operators learn how to take advantage of whatever programs they can to compete, to offer the same level of service as the bigger chains and schools. Some home-based childcare pre-K programs might set themselves apart by, how it's going to be a cozier setting or safer or less emotionally straining than the larger places. Also, remember the younger children. If you can comply with all of the rules to focus on toddlers and 2-year-olds and infants, it's very hard for parents to find care for them because those operations have harder rules to follow. Oregon has a normal number of pre-kindergarten aged children, but the percentage of these kids whose parents have done the paperwork and enrolled them in state preschool, it's only about 30% of those who are eligible. Parents who are eligible for subsidies, the subsidized kids, it may be harder for those parents or customers to find childcare close to them or that will take their kids or do the paperwork for the businesses involved. It may seem hard to fill out the paperwork, and maybe entrepreneurs can set themselves apart by being assistants to that difficult process. If it's seen as difficult and someone wants to help administer that, or write some sort of transaction software or something, that could help. And always never forget, when you're thinking about any kind of difficulties, the CCRNR website, they have a phone number too. We'll get to that. They can always step people through the process, and everything is bilingual at the CCRNR. Let's see. The Oregon Senate passed a bill this past July to add 4,000 publicly funded preschool programs slots. Like just a few weeks ago, they passed this bill to add 4,000 publicly funded preschool program slots. Preschool Promise and Baby Promise. Preschool area children are younger than 5. Guess what? Guess how many providers bailed during the pandemic? How many providers quit the job in Washington County? No, in the state of Oregon during the pandemic. 800 providers quit. So especially the coast area, I hear, like if you live in the Forest Grove or further points towards the coast, those parts of the county are extremely hard to find childcare in that part of the state. Oregon Department of Education is now spending $44 million in federal COVID aid for childcare and early learning programs. According to the Oregonian, there is concern that there will not even be enough preschool providers to, the in-home or in a center providers to meet these needs. So is it safe to assume that the CCRNRs will be trying extra hard to train and help potential childcare businesses? I think so. One will think this will be the case. That will maybe, I hope, spur entrepreneurial efforts, and we'll see more entrepreneurs entering the childcare field. So here are some facts. For parents to pay for childcare for a 2-year-old in Portland, it's around $1,200 a month. This is according to a recent Oregonian article in May. Another website, the near.org website, which is a think tank in Rutgers, they compare all the states, and they say that in Oregon it costs at least $14,000 a year per pre-kindergarten kid. So you can start to do some math and think about this. Is this a viable source of income? How many kids? So about childcare providers, there's license exempt where no license is required, but you still have to self-report background checks and training, and they provide less than a full day of care. But then there's licensed, where it's longer days, more inspections, higher standards, and they're in business serving a lot more kids at a time. So there's licensed and unlicensed childcare too. There's full day and less than full day. So the director of the Early Learning Division, Elisa Chatterjee, says higher staffing levels are needed for infants and toddlers, and there is a greater need for toddlers right now. There's a growing investment in attention to the 0 to 3-year-old group. The number of workers you must have to watch toddlers is higher and harder to get that licensed or certified, and certification is higher than licensing. So there's this group here called the Oregon Learning. If I click on this, I'm going to share a new share here. This is the Oregon Early Learning website. The Child Care Providers tab has, if you just hover over it, you can see childcare resources and programs. And under here, There's forms and resources. And then this box pops up and you can see for these various types, there's childcare, registered family childcare, certified childcare. If you open them, you'll see they have booklets that are written in multiple languages. And I just randomly opened this one area here, certified childcare forms. I could close it. I could click here, childcare rules, certified childcare rules, all these languages, registered family childcare rules. This is the one that seems to be the most popular, registered family childcare. If you just want to care for like 3 people besides your own kids, I think that's the most common. Even offers it in Vietnamese and Chinese and Russian. So this is a really great website, the Early Learning Division website. Let's go back to the presentation. Okay, so licensing requirements for becoming a childcare operator are on the State of Oregon's Early Learning website. They have a bilingual phone number. If you have a pen, it's 1-800-556-6616. That's 1-800-556-6616. And they are awesome. I called them. You might have to leave a message. Then they can talk to you if you're, if you just learn better by talking. And then the Community Action, Washington County Child Care Resource and Referral, the CCRNR, it also provides assistance to help you fill out the forms, get qualified, figure out what kind of license you want, what kind of certification you want. And they're bilingual as well. And what they're gonna do more is help you set up your home, help train you. And here's their phone number, and they're bilingual too. It's 971-223-6100. That's 971-223-6100. If you are filling out forms and you found out that you're supposed to upload files and you don't have access to a scanner, you don't have broadband internet, or you don't have software that can do it, then come to the Beaverton Library, because we have all those things. You can upload, you can scan, you can use our Wi-Fi, you can use our computers. We even have a fax machine. I don't know why, if you might need that, but. So going to next slide here. Things to consider about childcare. The primary activities of this industry are providing child and infant daycare, providing preschool programs, and the major products and services in this industry are in-home childcare, center-based childcare, pre-primary grade instructional programs, and other services and programs. Beaverton School District has had full-day kindergarten for about 5 years now. So that impacted childcare operators who served 5-year-olds. They sometimes had to close because they lost their 5-year-olds who became enrolled at the Beaverton School District instead. Other industries that are involved with childcare are like books. People, like if you make or service or repair things that are used by the childcare industry, then you can think of you're part of this ecosystem. If you sell books, if you sell games, musical instruments, supplies, other industries that cater are things like government administration, management, and facilities. It's important that you think about these things before you do it, because one of the first things you have to do is get your place inspected. So, and they offer trainings, the CCRNR offers trainings about how to make your place comply with inspection. All right, now this is the market. Here's Washington County, and the dark green areas, the aqua areas down here, those are mostly where the 0 to 4-year-old children live. And further in, the places that are paler, That's where the workers go in the daytime. So little kids might be dropped off for childcare between where the working people live and where they work. So it's not necessarily only that the children have childcare in this dark aqua area, but it could be also just equally as vital to have childcare between this dark green area and where their parents work. How are you going to build awareness? For customers to know that you exist, this is called awareness. Awareness is all about being seen in community websites like nextdoor.com, Facebook neighborhood sites, and the early learning divisions also has a directory in it, so that if you received your license, then the parents will be able to find you by using the early learning division's website. Also, 211 is where your customers are searching, and the 211 workers just access the early learning division's directory. So building awareness for your customers is something that Gustavo can probably talk to you about, like as far as networking events go. He might even be able to share with you about that. Building awareness for your customers might occur, like if you have your material together, easily to distribute, like business cards, of course. It's really not hard to find parents who need childcare, but if you are interested in expanding, or if you have a center and you think you can take on more children, then you should be put in touch with human resources departments at the big employers. HR departments want their workers to have childcare, and so they might be a good go-between. Here is a list. I'm just going to say a list of, everyone probably already knows this, but it's nice to hear a list of Beaverton's 20 largest employers. These are where most of the workers work: Nike, Tech, Form Factor, Columbia Sportswear, Vanguard, Reesers, Digimark, Graphic Products, Bimbo Bakeries, Beaverton School District, Comcast, the City of Beaverton, Fred Meyer, Pacific Office Automation, Home Depot, New Seasons, Costco, Nation Star Mortgage, DAT Solutions, Lamphere, and there's a lot of other car dealerships and credit unions that are very close. And a good exercise might be to look at a map and just put dots on the map where all these big businesses are, and think about that, how to cater them. Because the daytime population swells around these large employers, because that's where more people are walking around, more people are shopping by these employers in the daytime than out in the suburbs where the children live. So it's almost just as important to be located where the businesses are than where the neighborhoods are. To be eligible for payment from the DHS, the provider you must be listed with the DHS. The DHS website has safety guidelines and training requirements. The Community Action of Washington County, let's see. Oh, the Early Learning Division here, we're on this slide. Early Learning Division at the State Education Department has a .com after it. I just thought I'd point that out. It's legit. This is a legitimate website for government, even though there's a .com after it. This is the other best website to go to, the Early Learning Division, earlylearning.com, OregonEarlyLearning.com, OregonEarlyLearning.com. Community Action of Washington County, they guide you through the process from a local point of view. Like I said before, the Child Care Resource and Referral Program from Washington County, CCRNR, through Community Action, they provide the training, professional development opportunities, and coaching to anyone involved in early childhood education. To become a registered child care provider, or just to become certified, go to the CCRNR. They have an office. Even if you learn better by going in person, you could even do the drop-in here at the Beaverton Resource Center on Walker Road at 13565 Southwest Walker Road. And their phone number, if you want to call the drop-in center, it's 503-207-5670. That's 503-207-5670. Now, this is the fun part for me because I get to talk about the library. This is a picture of the inside of the library on Hall and Fifth, where we have a great children's department on the first floor. We have for parents, teachers, early childhood educators, camp counselors, anyone who works with kids or wants to know how they grow, how they develop, how they learn. This is the collection here for the parenting collection, and it's useful for all those people I just described. It has things for like practical books for like potty training. It has craft activities. It has workbook samples, like if you want to do workbooks for preschool. It also has more academic stuff that tells you about brain development. And we provide books on activities, things that help with growing up and developing, emotional learning, ideas for social regulation or social learning, tips for making child's snacks, and caring and respect for many different cultures. And they have books on nature activities, science activities, math. And nearby in the Juvenile World Languages collection, there's a set of parenting books in Spanish too. Then we also have this thing called Library on Wheels. The Library on Wheels operates inside this blue border, and it sends out a wonderful bilingual storytime provider to all of the childcare providers. Even if it's an in-home childcare provider, you can sign up to get her to come do a story time. Our Library on Wheels outreach specialist is named Lisbeth Sauer Villasenor, and she is bilingual. Lisbeth Sauer Villasenor. Currently, our Library on Wheels has a little bit of a waiting list, but we're getting it back up and running this summer and fall. And so go to the library's website to learn about that. So she brings the books and holds story times to in-home childcare providers within this boundary. So to register for it, you fill out an application on the library website. Also, talking about library resources, we talk about the community action a lot. They're going to have an office here on the second floor of the library where the social worker will be located now. The library is still doing the scheduling for when she's supposed to be at the library, but stay tuned. I'm going to click on the link here, under here. This is the childcare training link for the library, and I'm going to share this screen with you. This is what our website looks like. The childcare trainings is something that's, it complies with the kind of trainings that you would be required to take to participate in being a childcare provider. Now, currently, there's no childcare trainings scheduled right now currently, but we are going to be doing them again. And just we also have a monthly newsletter for teachers and early childhood educators. And it's a notify me option on our website. You just put your email address there. And also to get the training for your staff to come to you, there's this link here to provide that. So we also have this link here for resources for educators. That's got all these links here. Yeah, okay, so now I'm going to go back to my presentation. And just so much attention is being given to childcare. It's unbelievable. These organizations are fighting to make it easier and better to become a childcare provider. The First 5 Years Fund website has a really, its First 5 Years Fund shows an increased allocations for childcare programs if things are going to be going as planned during the Biden administration. It's got a really good breakdown of the funding, like follow the money. And OSU has a really great partnership, and they make recommendations about how it's got to be made easier to apply. So they're making recommendations about how to make it easier. And Family Forward Oregon down here, they really maintain some good links for providers and parents as well. So I think that's all I have to go on. So thank you so much for letting me tell you about childcare as a business. And are there any questions?
Sí, buenos días, Gustavo. Yo tengo una pregunta. Sí, ¿sí me puedes escuchar?
Sí, te escuchamos.
Gracias. Bueno, yo sí estoy interesada. Estoy ahora haciendo un proyecto, precisamente un plan de trabajo para poder hacer este negocio. De hecho, ya lo tenía desde el año pasado, pero lo tuve que suspender. Entonces, ahora me estoy encontrando con una situación, una pregunta. No sé qué tan fácil o qué tan difícil es poder conseguir un lugar a donde se pueda hacer este tipo de negocio en base a los requisitos que se piden en una casa o en alguna propiedad. Mi pregunta sería, ¿qué tan fácil es poder conseguir una propiedad y que no sea difícil, vamos, por el tipo de negocio que es? ¿Sí me explico, Gustavo?
Sí, claro.
Porque he escuchado que a veces no es fácil que te permitan, por ejemplo, rentar una casa que quieres usar para ese tipo de negocio. ¿Es así o realmente es nada más como que comentarios así sin tener la prueba, vamos, de eso?
Well, from what I understand, I hear that people are doing them sometimes in churches. So that's always something you hear about, is that churches, but I think the best thing to do would be to go to those 2 websites I described and focus on the booklets about the facilities and what the facilities are supposed to have in them to comply. Also, if you fill out a basic application with one of those 2 websites, I think it's the Oregon Early Learning Division, you start to apply. There's this like form that you apply. Once you get into the Early Learning Division system, they assign you a licensing specialist. And then the licensing specialist can talk to you, and they're usually bilingual. So maybe they know more about how hard or how difficult it is to comply. I guess just going through the various channels like one goes through to find a rental. I don't know if it's I haven't rented something in so long that I don't even know where people look for rentals. I don't know. Back in the 20 years ago, it was Craigslist, but I don't know if that's where people look for rentals now. That's a really good question. I would suggest getting a licensing specialist. And if anyone else has a better idea, let me know. And I could look into it and contact you if you have my number, my email. If you want me to look into how easy or difficult it is to find a place, I will do my best and give, what I find to you.
Sí, muchas gracias. De hecho, sí, con la información que ahorita está dando, me ayuda bastante porque también quería saber cuáles serían los puntos importantes, en dónde sería bueno ubicarse para poder hacer pues un trabajo más efectivo, ¿verdad? Donde haya, digamos, más necesidad en este momento, ¿no?
Yeah, definitely. I think that they're really dying to have more people do this career. So it wouldn't surprise me if once you do the punch in yourself to the early learning system, then those licensing specialists are going to do their best to coax you into this career.
Sí, muchas gracias. Otra pregunta, ¿cuál sería mi primer paso ahorita? ¿Con quién tendría que ir para recibir como que la información de ir paso a paso? ¿A quién tendría que ver primero?
Do you want to talk to people in person or do you want to follow the website? Do you want to go in person to meet somebody in person or do you want to use their website?
Oh, es mejor en persona.
Well, then if you want to do an in-person introduction, I would suggest the Beaverton Resource Center on Walker Road. Have you ever heard of the Beaverton Resource Center? I'll show you their website, okay? I'm going to share.
Sí, gracias. Gracias.
Beaverton Resource Center. This is their address.
Sí, muchas gracias.
Let's go to their hours so that I can show you their hours. About us. Let's see. I thought their hours were on the homepage. Maybe it's this dots, click here. Okay, service hours, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 9 to 1.
Oh, perfecto. Sí,
Okay.
muchas gracias. Ya lo tengo aquí en fotografía. Entonces, sí, yo voy a comunicarme con ellos y para poder darle seguimiento a mi proyecto. Muchas gracias por la información.
They're not going to be the administrators of this program. You know, the administrators of this program are like the Community Action, CCRNR, and the DHS and Early Learning Division. But at least these people at the service center can talk to you, because I know some people are more talk oriented and not website oriented. They might be able to tell you where you need to go, because I don't know. I just know that the Beaverton Beaverton Resource Center has people from Community Action, which is the CCRNR, there. It has the Community Action Organization people there. So maybe they can talk to you. Or, you know,
Sí,
give you an appointment.
claro que sí. Muchísimas gracias por esa información.
Is she located in the Oregon Beaverton area, the caller?
No, de hecho yo ahorita estoy viviendo en Vancouver, pero mi intención es trabajar en Oregon, en Portland o en Beaverton. regularmente hemos trabajado allá, entonces es más fácil, conozco más, me siento un poquito más familiarizada con el área de Oregon o con Beaverton.
Okay. I wonder if the Vancouver CCR and R, see, they have one in Vancouver. As well, Vancouver, BC. We don't want Vancouver. We want Vancouver, Washington. Vancouver, Washington. CCR&R.
Washington.
Child Care Aware, Washington. Yeah. So there's a place in Washington that's the same thing.
Lo que podemos hacer es que me vengas a visitar y vemos aquí los recursos para Washington, para Beaverton, y lo platicamos y te ayudo a obtener todos los recursos con todo gusto.
Sí, gracias.
Ponernos en contacto con Action, y ver también todos los recursos para que te convengan sin ningún problema. Echamos un telefonazo y generamos una cita y poder platicar con ellos.
Sí, sí, claro que sí, Gustavo. Muchas gracias.
Y revisar tu plan de negocio también. Eso lo podemos hacer.
Sí, claro que sí, cómo no, muchísimas gracias. Sí, ya tenemos, de hecho, bueno, ya afortunadamente estamos volviendo a la normalidad, ¿verdad? A poder trabajar, entonces, pues sí, te digo, yo desde hace un año tenía ese proyecto, entonces ahorita sí, ya quiero continuarlo y veo que hay mucha necesidad en esta área, entonces, pues a nosotros nos gusta ese trabajo y entonces queremos hacerlo y viendo esa necesidad también, ¿no?
Sí, perfecto. Nos comparte Sabi Velasco, dice que para ella es mejor que vaya a una orientación al CCR&R y también que explore el Early Learning Division en sitio online. Entonces, podemos trabajar, pero podemos checar también en Community Action. Ellos son partner también de Impact Beaverton. Entonces, si quieres, podemos hacer el contacto juntos y pasarte la relación con ellos.
Sí, sí, claro que sí, Gustavo. Muchas gracias. Así lo voy a hacer. Voy a ir siguiendo paso a paso todo lo que me han orientado.
In a commercial building, see this, you click here. You can even call 1-800-556-6616.
1-800, ¿me puede repetir por favor el número? 1-800.
556
556
6616.
116, el último. 6616.
Sí, 16.
Ajá. Esto sería para poder ubicar un lugar, una instancia.
Well, I don't know. They'll at least tell you, probably tell you what the path is for that. And I'm sure it has something to do with renting, like you're going to rent anything. I mean, if you're going to rent a barn for your horse, if you're going to rent a house for yourself, you have to use, Oregon Live, websites, Washington, Craigslist. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've rented something, but, I don't know how people find things to
Claro
rent.
que sí.
Sandra también nos comenta que el CCR&R, ellos te guían cuando empiezas de cero, entonces pues a lo mejor es importante conectarnos con ellos y con todo gusto pues, te podemos ir ayudando.
Sí, claro que sí. Muchas gracias, Gustavo. Ya tengo esta información entonces y ya ahorita nada más me faltaría la cita contigo.
Sí, con todo gusto.
Yo
¿Puedo
te
decir
llamo.
algo, Gustavo?
Con todo gusto, Sandra.
Sí, la mejor opción para esta señora que va empezando es que hable con ellos, con la oficina que está en Hillsborough, es CCR&R, y ellos la van a orientar, le van a decir todos los requisitos referente a lo que necesita para lo que son las clases, ¿verdad? Básicamente la clase principal, que es la que le pide el Estado para poder empezar a tener
licencia.
una cita con las especialistas de licencia, y ya le van a dar todos los requisitos de lo que ella va a necesitar para poder ser aprobada y tomar una licencia de cuidado infantil.
Oh, perfecto. Sí, muchísimas gracias, Sandra, ¿verdad?
Sandra, sí.
Sandra.
Sí,
Gracias,
muchas
Sandra.
gracias.
Es excelente que todo el mundo nos echemos la mano. Entonces es lo
Ay,
importante.
sí, sí, cómo no, así es más fácil. Muchas gracias. Pues eso sería todo de mi parte. Muchas gracias por sus respuestas, por su información nuevamente. Creo que ya tomé mucho tiempo.
No te preocupes. Sabi, creo que habías levantado la mano. No sé si tenías alguna pregunta, algún comentario que hacernos.
Esta Sabi Velasco, yo había levantado la mano, pero ya estuve escribiendo en el chat para ayuda para la señora que quiere empezar su childcare.
Perfecto. Fue el comentario que leí entonces. Muchas
Gracias.
gracias, Sabi, por compartir tu experiencia con nosotros.
Otro comentario también que tengo es que como child care provider que llevo más de 13 años en esto, es muy difícil conseguir la renta porque muchos personas que rentan no van a rentar a una casa a alguien que quiere empezar su childcare por lo de liability. Eso es un poco difícil ahora, y más con los códigos de vivienda que ahora están poniendo, que quieren que ponga uno los sprinkles de agua dentro de la casa donde vamos a tener childcare. So, esto es algo que afecta también a las childcare, y por eso, y lo de COVID y todo eso, entonces por eso muchas han cerrado.
Doesn't that make you think, like, is there some grant that could go to remodelers? The remodelers go to the houses, I just start to think, like, isn't there some, if we need this bad enough, then, and if there's going to be all this money going to it, then maybe there will be helping people to comply with these home requirements. Doesn't it make sense? Somebody,
Esta es Sabi Velasco. Otra de las cosas es que también viene otra ayuda que se llama AARP, que van a alocar dinero para ayudar a child care providers. Ahorita ya a nivel estatal ya dieron el presupuesto y cómo lo van a usar, y empezando en septiembre va a salir la aplicación para el grant. Pero las personas que van a poder pedir este grant va a ser que ya tienen su negocio abierto antes del 1 de marzo 2021. Son las que quieran abrir se quedan fuera porque no va a haber ese dinero para ellas.
Ok. Antes del 21 de marzo de este año.
No,
Okay.
1 de marzo 2021. March 1st.
Primero. Oh, ajá.
Yeah, 2000.
Ok. Para los nuevos negocios no. Para los nuevos negocios no, ¿verdad? No aplicaría este apoyo.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So there's a lot of information about that. I mean, that's something that just approved the beginning of the month. So we don't know when the application is going to be available. They said in the middle of September, but we're not for sure.
Sí. Mediados de septiembre. Okay.
Gio, I can send you the email with all that information so you can have the information. If somebody contact you, you can have that. I mean, I will happy to email that
Sí.
information.
That would be awesome.
Sí, claro que sí, muchas gracias. De aquí sería otra pregunta, Gustavo. De estos recursos que hablaban, de hecho, ¿serían entonces solamente para personas que ya tienen el negocio o puede ser que también lo estén dando a personas que van a abrir un negocio?
En este caso tendríamos que verificar primero la información para poderte contestar. ¿Sabes? Si nos puedes compartir la información, con todo gusto lo puedo yo distribuir en nuestras redes sociales. Mi correo es gustavo@beaverton.org y con todo gusto analizo toda la información y en cuanto yo tenga ya algo en concreto, puedo enviarles la información ya como un resumen para que puedan aplicar en su momento. Con todo gusto haré eso.
Gracias, Gustavo.
Perfecto. Es gustavo@beaverton.org. Es mi correo. Lo voy a poner en el chat.
Ya puse en el chat el ARP, Early Learning, para que ustedes tengan ahí la información. Es mejor ahí.
Oh, perfecto. Sí, con gusto. Ya lo tengo y lo voy a leer y lo voy a poder transmitir con todos. Muchas gracias, Xavi. Perfecto. Pues si tienen alguna pregunta, la podemos hacer. Tenemos un minuto. Si no, pues me gustaría terminar la sesión. Gracias, Jill, por toda la información. Gracias a todos por el tiempo que estuvieron en nuestra sesión informativa. Por todos los comentarios. Gracias. Y nos vemos el siguiente martes. Vamos a tener una sesión bastante interesante de contabilidad. Entonces, no se la pueden perder. Y ya saben, cualquier duda, cualquier cita que tengan que quieran hacer conmigo, estoy aquí en la Cámara de Comercio de 9 a 5. Con todo gusto, ya estamos atendiendo a gente a uno en persona. Entonces, estamos aquí para servirles, como siempre. Y muchas gracias por su tiempo y nos vemos el siguiente lunes. Gracias, Jill. Susan, Ivonne, les agradezco por su tiempo. Que tengan buena semana y buen fin de semana.
Muchas gracias nuevamente a todos. Gracias,
Bye.
Gustavo. Gracias, Jill. Gracias.
Gracias, Gustavo.
De nada, José. Hasta
Susan.
luego. Gracias,
Hasta
Miguel,
luego.
Sandra.
Gracias, Gustavo. Cuídense. Adiós.
Hasta luego.